My name is Lucia Calderon. I'm 32, the youngest daughter of a family that wears legacy like armor. My father built a real estate empire off wartime contracts and loopholes, while my mother curated a life of award dinners and foundation galas. My sister, Violet, graduated into high society with the precision of a CEO stepping into a boardroom. Me, I analyzed data for a living, kept my head down, and rented a one-bedroom apartment 6 miles from the house my name is technically still on. I've always been the outlier, too quiet, too curious, too unwilling to play the roles they assigned. And maybe that's why I was the easiest to cut loose. When I lost my job, I expected silence. I didn't expect them to pay my landlord $1,200 to make me disappear. But the real shock wasn't the eviction. It was realizing I'd been erased months before the locks even changed. I got laid off on a Monday. Not with a bang, not even a whisper. Just a forwarded calendar invite for a transition meeting, and a thin smile from HR that didn't reach her eyes. We appreciate your contributions, Lucia. Unfortunately, clean corporate language for, you're done here. I walked out of AMC Labs with a sealed envelope, a generic letterhead, and a vague promise of future references. The air smelled like rubber tires and dead ambition. By Tuesday night, I was halfway through redlining my resume when the buzz came. Unknown caller. Then a text. Hey Lucia. Need to speak. Urgent. See. I looked up. Calloway. My landlord. 3 knocks. He didn't wait for permission to speak. I've received an early lease termination request, he said, eyes not meeting mine. Effective in 48 hours. The paper in his hand had my name. My e-signature, time-stamped at 2:14 p.m. I hadn't signed anything. I hadn't even checked my inbox since the layoff. He cleared his throat. Your parents reached out, paid me $1,200 to expedite the process. Said it was an intervention. I said nothing. I couldn't. His face flickered guilt for half a second, then defaulted to neutral. Technically, your lease was month to month. This isn't an eviction. It's a mutual release. Mutual, I repeated, voice tight. You think this is mutual? He shrugged. It's legal. And it's paid. Cut to black. I dialed. The line picked up on the second ring. Mom's voice was smooth, measured. Lucia, sweetie, we've been worried. You bribed my landlord. We helped him accelerate a necessary change. You're drifting, Lucia. Sometimes the world needs to push. Push me into what, exactly? A new phase. Growth doesn't come from comfort. Dad took the phone next. His tone had the weight of finality. We did this because we love you. You can't hide behind numbers and computers anymore. You need life to confront you. There's a difference between a lesson and a hit job. Rock bottom builds resilience. I hung up. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I opened my laptop and started pulling metadata from the e-signature doc. My name was on it. The encryption matched my key. Only one problem. I never generated that key on any of my devices. By midnight, I found the first clue. A forwarded email. Subject line. Plan B for Lucia. Sent from my parents' joint account. Forwarded to a legal contact named AIM Sunlock LLP. Attachment. Tenant guidance / emergency exit protocol. Date 6 weeks ago. They'd planned this before I even lost my job. I felt cold. Not anger. Not grief. Just absence. Then I noticed something else. A subfolder. Hidden under Gmail's All Mail tab. Labeled Calderon Shells. Inside, automated emails from a property management portal. Password reset requests. Lease approvals. All tied to my name. All signed. All fake. Someone was wearing my identity. Quietly. Efficiently. My eyes blurred. My breath shallowed. I stood, walked to the kitchen. Poured water. Didn't drink it. Outside, a car idled. Engine soft. Then silence. The street light flickered once. Stayed off. The kind of darkness that breathes. I turned back to the screen. The metadata showed a familiar IP address. A geotag. Latitude 34.0242. Longitude minus 118.4965. My parents' house. That's not my signature. And yet the file was time-stamped, encrypted, and locked with my own biometric key. The air in my apartment was stale. Still. The kind of still that only comes when something has already died and the room hasn't caught up yet. I didn't sleep. I sat on the floor with my laptop open, the backlight burning into my retinas. My hands moved on instinct. Terminal open. Metadata extraction. IP trace. Clock ticking. At 2:43 a.m., I found the first leak. A PDF titled Asset Holding Transfer, LC, dated 3 months ago. Sent from a masked address. But the routing ID? It came from my parents' accountant, Dennis Miles. I hadn't seen Dennis in 4 years. He was the type of man who wore navy suits to brunch and called theft reallocation. He also signed my college grant paperwork when my parents forgot to. I tried his number. No answer. I called again. Voicemail. The sound of the beep was louder than it should have been. By sunrise, I had his office address, pulled from old bank receipts buried in my archived tax folders. Echo Park, a glass and concrete building overlooking a used car lot and 2 vape shops. Classy. I drove there in a sweatshirt and dark jeans. No makeup. Hair tied back. Disappearing was easier when you looked like nothing. The door to his suite was cracked open. No secretary. No hum of a printer. Just silence and stale cologne. I stepped in. There was a note taped to his door. Closed indefinitely. Estate contact. Langston and Muir. I blinked. Read again. Estate. Dennis was dead. Cutscene. I was back in the car, fingers trembling around the wheel. The obituary was a quiet paragraph on page 9 of the Santa Monica Dispatch. Died by suicide. Pressure. Investigation pending. A man behind me cleared his throat. I checked the mirror. Black hoodie. Sunglasses. Sitting in a gray Hyundai 2 cars back. Engine on. Not moving. Coincidence dies after the second time. I pulled out fast. Took 3 unnecessary turns. Lost him on a yellow light. My hands were cold. Back at the motel, I slammed the door and dropped to the floor. There was something on the mirror. A small, sealed envelope. Taped dead center. No note. Just a photo. It was my apartment key, the one Calloway had taken, sitting next to a folder stamped Lux Realty Group, Calderon file. I stared at it until my chest stopped moving. People think betrayal happens in shouts, slamming doors, but the most dangerous kind is quiet, well-funded, and already over by the time you notice. I called him. Orion. A pause, then static. Jesus, Lucia, I haven't heard your voice since the arrest. I need a trace, paper trails, shell companies, all of it. Another pause, then softly. Still living off-grid, but I'll pull what I can. Give me 24 hours. You've got 12. By midnight, I was half asleep on the floor when my phone buzzed. No ID, just a signal ping from a private line. I answered. Your name's not just on leases. Orion's voice was flat, dead serious. It's on government contracts, procurement entries, something military, something classified. You were never supposed to see this. The room spun. I worked back end, not black level. I choked the words out. I was in system design, public sector nodes. Then someone climbed over your corpse and stole your clearance. My stomach dropped. And Lucia. His voice lowered. One of the documents, it's tied to Project Lyra. Everything stopped. The name was Red Level. Firewalled. An AI military hybrid model rumored to be so volatile it never made it past prototype. I'd seen glimpses, whispers in code, but nothing public, nothing real. Until now. They used your ID to get inside. Your key, your pathing, your digital handprint. A pause. Then a new voice cut in. Female. Crisp. Too calm. Ms. Calderon. Don't hang up. I froze. This is Agent Dana Ree. I'm with internal counterintel. Silence. You're not in trouble. Lie. But you are a name in an open breach investigation. You've been shadowed for 48 hours. We need to talk. Now. My heartbeat sounded like thunder in my own ears. They're watching you because they need you. They made you the smoke. I tried to speak. Nothing came out. And I'm here to tell you the rest of your life depends on moving. Now. My phone buzzed again. Second line. Blocked ID. Pick it up, Dana said. That'll tell you who really started this. I answered. The voice on the other end was my father's. Lucia, you need to stop digging. I didn't breathe. You weren't meant to see this. We didn't want it this way. But it's too late now. And then, don't come home. His voice wasn't warning me. It was closing a door. Lucy, your name's not just on leases. It's on contracts. Government ones. His voice wasn't curious. It was terrified. Agent Dana Ree didn't blink once in the entire elevator ride. She didn't speak either, just held a key card the color of graphite and stared ahead like the walls might lie. The elevator beeped. Sublevel 3. We don't ask how you got here, she said. We ask what they used you for. The doors opened into cold. No carpeting, no signage, just a corridor lit by strip lights that flickered like a migraine. Inside the secure archive, everything was concrete and silence. Oxygen levels slightly off, the kind of silence that made your ears feel too open. Orion waited near a console, hands in his coat. He didn't say hi. I stepped beside him. Screens blinked alive, staggered windows. File logs. Access dates. Dana swiped a card, typed something, then looked at me. Your ID accessed a classified neural mapping framework. 10 sessions, each one routed through a different IP. Orion brought up the digital trace. Each session showed me, or rather, my credentials, logging in from randomized locations across 3 states inside 14 days. That's impossible, I said. Dana stared. Is it? The framework, Project Lyra, was supposed to be in pilot phase. It mapped behavior algorithms to identify emotional spikes in threat assessment. Basically, AI that predicts how someone will snap, weaponizing empathy. And my name was the clearance key. Cut scene. I stood in the data cage, screen in my face. The air smelled like burning plastic and pine-scented cleaner. File name, Lyri_echo_extract.7z. Orion decrypted the compressed folder. Slowly. Within seconds, video feeds appeared. Audio logs. Time-stamped edits. Some signed by LC. One was a training simulation. A voice narrating subject responses. Mine. Not just credentials. They were using my voice. I stepped back. That's not me. That's a voice model. Synthetic mimicry. Deep layer AI generation using voice imprint. Dana nodded. They cloned you. That's when the alarms went off. Not loud. Just sharp enough to crack the moment. Orion's fingers flew. Dana pulled her jacket open. Badge clipped under her arm. Hand already on her sidearm. Someone else just breached the outer perimeter, she said. A second console blinked red. External override. Kill the access, Dana barked. Wipe the cache. Too late. The screens went black. A heavy slam echoed from above. Metal door. Manual override. Orion looked at me. They're not after the data. They're after you. We ran. Back, through the corridor. Elevator dead. Secondary exit, through the sub-level ladder. Rungs cold. Narrow shaft. Concrete walls, wet with condensation. At the top, the emergency hatch was already pried open. Move, Dana snapped. Outside, midnight wind. Rooftop level of an industrial server hub near Culver City. Below us, 2 dark SUVs idled. No logos, just stillness. 2 men in suits. No guns. Not visible anyway. One tapped his ear. Dana yanked me back behind a vent unit. They're private, not federal. Who? They don't wear names. We moved fast across the rooftop. I could taste copper in my mouth from breathing too hard. Orion found a cable rail. Hooked a tension line. You're not serious, I said. I've got one rule, he said. Never trust the stairs when someone's buying your downfall in installments. Cut to black. We slid. 10 seconds of terror. Rooftop to rooftop. Cable groaning. Air slamming my jacket into my face. We landed hard. I hit concrete, rolled, and came up coughing. The fire escape door next to us burst open. A man in a maintenance uniform lunged. Dana dropped him with one shot to the shoulder. Non-lethal. He screamed. Collapsed. She cuffed him. Pulled ID. Nothing. Just a blank contractor badge. Burned barcode. But in his phone, GPS app open, flashing one active location. My motel. Orion grabbed the phone. Scanned it. Your room's been swept. Twice. This guy's not freelance. He's contracted. For what? To monitor asset movement. He looked up at me. That's what they're calling you now, Lucia. You're not a threat. You're a resource. I stepped back. The ground didn't feel solid anymore. Dana looked me straight in the eye. You were never the leak. You were the smokescreen. I didn't speak. You were meant to be seen. Meant to be blamed. They put your face on the camera so they could disappear behind it. And who's they? A pause. Then Dana whispered, Your family. My hands curled into fists. The wind screamed between the buildings like it wanted to finish the sentence. They wanted me evicted so no one could find me. No, Dana said. They wanted you off the map when it all fell apart. Her phone buzzed once. She read it. Froze. Then she turned to me. Lucia, they just filed a death certificate in your name. The Calderons are about to burn, and they plan to burn you first. Rain hit the windshield in sharp diagonal lines, slicing the night into slivers of light and motion. Dana drove like every second was timed. Orion sat in the back, fingers glued to a secure tablet, decrypting faster than the car could turn. No one spoke. Not until we crossed the city line. Who the hell files a death certificate before the body's cold? I muttered. Dana didn't look away from the road. People with plans. People who need the system to believe you're already gone. My name, my face, my data, all already burned and buried on a server I never touched. They didn't just evict me from my apartment. They'd erased me. We parked 3 blocks from the Calderon estate. I hadn't been home in years. Every brick looked the same, polished, hollow, a monument to curated perfection. The windows were dark, except for the 3rd floor. One light, one shadow pacing. Violet. My sister never paced. Cut scene. Dana handed me a burner phone and earpiece. If this goes sideways, don't call me. Break the phone. What about you? I was never here. Orion passed me a flash drive. This is everything on Project Lyra. Use it as leverage, not proof. Because proof gets buried. No, he said, because proof gets you buried. I entered through the gardener's gate. The keypad still used the same 4-digit code. My birth year. The irony tasted like steel. The kitchen door creaked open. I slipped through. Everything inside was pristine, except the air. Something was off. No hum from the fridge. No buzz from the thermostat. The house was disconnected. Too clean. Too quiet. I crept up the back stairs. Voices upstairs. One male. One female. I froze outside Violet's room. We can't stall the feds forever, Nolan. She's going to surface. She's already a ghost on paper. That was the point. You think ghosts can't talk? A pause. Then, if she leaks what she knows, we're done. I stepped back. My breath caught. Nolan Price, our family's longtime lawyer. He was supposed to be dead, car crash 2 years ago. But his voice was clear, alive, and in my sister's room. I backed away. Too fast. My heel knocked a vase. It crashed. Everything exploded. Violet's door flung open. What the? She saw me. Silence. Then Lucia. Dana's voice crackled in my earpiece. Abort. Now. Too late. Violet reached for something behind her dresser. I lunged first. Tackled her. We crashed onto the rug, glass biting into my palms. She hissed. You don't understand. You filed me dead. That wasn't my idea. You cloned my voice. She froze, then said something that cracked through my spine. It wasn't your voice they cloned, Lucia. I stopped. What? She looked at me, eyes tired. No one cloned you. They cloned me. Flashback. Not long. Just a flicker. Christmas. 2 years ago. Violet drunk. Rambling about the lab. Something about inheritance layers and synthetic transfers. I thought she was high. Now I wasn't so sure. Footsteps. Heavy. Nolan. I grabbed the flash drive from my pocket. Held it like a grenade. Take one more step, and this goes to every journalist between here and DC. He didn't move. His voice dropped. That drive doesn't prove anything without the original seed files. Then I guess I'll need those too. He smiled. That would require knowing where we buried them. Cut scene. The front of the house exploded in light. Red. Blue. Sirens. Dana's voice hit my ear. Federal warrant just landed. I had to pull the trigger early. Get out now. Nolan ran. Violet shoved me off, panting. You don't know what they promised me. What did you trade, Violet? She stared. My face. My name. My life. She was crying. Now they want yours too. I bolted down the stairs. Agents breached from the side door, yelling. Metal clashing. I ducked through the wine cellar, out into the storm. Rain blurred everything. Then headlights. A car skidded into the alley. Orion. I dove in. He floored it. We peeled out as the feds poured into the driveway behind us. My hands shook around the flash drive. Lucia, Orion said, glancing at me. I looked up. What? He turned the tablet toward me. The files on this drive? They're not from Lyra. I blinked. They're from something worse. He zoomed in. Project Siren _01 active. Primary ID of Cauldron. Violet's name. Not mine. They didn't clone me. They framed me for what she became. Sirens cut the night in half. Red and blue strobes washed over the freeway as we sped north, away from the Calderon estate. Orion drove, like the asphalt was melting beneath his wheels. Dana sat rigid beside him, earpiece in, eyes flicking between rear view and street signs. I stared out the wet window, imagining that death certificate pinned to some cold digital file somewhere. Lucia Calderon, deceased. Only I wasn't, and that was the problem. We pulled into a Payless motel off Route 5. A neon sign buzzed in static cadence. Vacancy, like it knew we were fugitives with nowhere to be safe. Orion slammed the tablet onto the sink. Those files, he said, they're not just military access logs. They're intent records. Intent records. I echoed. My voice was fog. He swiped. They designed Lyra to feed outcomes, Lucia. Predictive threat behavior. But this, they built an echo chamber. Not to predict someone's moves, but to manufacture them. I blinked. He continued. Someone wanted to create a ghost, so they could hide behind it. The phone rang. No number. Just static. I answered. Silence. Then a voice, thin, familiar, like lips pressed over a microphone. Do you think death grants you freedom? I froze. It wasn't my sister. Not entirely. It was her voice model, the deep learning replica they'd been running under Violet's identity. Only that voice wasn't dead yet. How did you get this number? I whispered. There was no reply, just a click. Disconnect. Cutscene. Dana caught the last tone. They're taunting you, she said. They want reaction. I felt my pulse thrum against my collarbone. Maybe they want me to live this, I said, so they can kill me by making the world think I'm already dead. Dana didn't flinch. That's exactly it. We needed a plan. A real one. Not chasing ghosts in server farms or motel rooms. I pulled the flash drive from my pocket, the one with the Lyra files. I pressed it into Orion's hand. We use it, I said, but smart. He nodded slowly. Go public, but controlled. Create a trigger. I looked between Dana and Orion. Trigger. Orion switched on his laptop, fingers already flying. We leak a staged event, something the Calderons can't silence, something that forces them out into the open. Dana's eyes snapped up. Explain. He tapped the screen. A sequence of fake articles, social media disinformation, a single line. Lucia Calderon found dead from overdose. Notes reveal family cover-up. We'd create a funeral narrative, something tragic, human, believable, and then use the fallout to flush them from the shadows. Dana paused. You want to weaponize their belief in your death against them. That's the point, I said. If they think I'm buried, they'll move. And when they move, they slip. It took hours. Patterns. Redirects. Clone servers. Ghost accounts. Orion's coffee went cold. Dana didn't drink. I didn't breathe. By 4 a.m. it was ready. One click. Release. Then we waited. The screen refreshed. Notifications. Shared, liked, reposted. The story spread fast. Too fast. I watched the feed scroll. Names I hadn't seen since high school. Reporters I recognized from OP-EDS. Influencers with million-plus followers. The narrative took life. And then, my phone buzzed. Not Dana's burner. Not Orion's. My old number. 3 unread texts. Dad, contact your lawyer immediately. Violet, call me now. Mom, we need family. I didn't reply. Instead, I showed Dana. Her jaw tightened. They're panicking, she said. They're going to make mistakes. We left the motel. Night had turned to dawn, gray and sputtering like an engine on its last turn. We drove to the gallery district. Calderon Foundation had a fundraising gala tonight. Luminaries of tomorrow. A public event. Cameras everywhere. Press in attendance. Big donors. Celebrities. A perfect pressure cooker. They'd slip. That was the whole point. I stepped out of the car in black boots and a leather jacket. Rain spattered like cold bullets. I felt watched. I always did now. Dana handed me a mic pack and a small earpiece. Just speak when I say, she said. Orion kissed my temple, quick, tense. We're with you, he whispered. I walked in. Marble floors. Glass walls. Champagne flutes trembling in silver trays. My name was already a rumor in the air. People whispered it like a ghost had an accent. I saw them. Violet in a pale gown, forced smile, hands clenched at her sides. Nolan at her elbow, alive, breathing, eyes scanning. They hadn't seen me yet. Perfect. I moved through the crowd. Faces turned. Gasps. Whispers. Lucia Calderon was alive. And on every phone screen, a silent projection lit up the wall behind the speaker's podium. Images. Documents. Audio logs. Voice prints. All linked to the Calderon network. The crowd swirled. Panic flickered. The host tried to speak. The mic cut him off. My voice echoed. Truth isn't always convenient. It isn't quiet. And it doesn't die just because someone writes a death certificate. The crowd shifted. Flashbulbs popped. Security moved in. Then I saw them, Violet and Nolan, frozen as the screen flashed a single line. Project Siren _01 active. Primary ID Cauldron. Everything went black. And then, screams, shouting, chaos, sirens sliding into the ballroom like knives. The chandelier rattled above us. A bead fell, hung by a thread, then crashed. Glass exploded across marble like fireworks made of danger. And I ran. Sirens swallowed the night. Red, blue, white. Security shouted. Guests screamed. Glass kept falling. I ran. Not away from them. Through them. A hand grabbed my wrist. I twisted, elbowed, kept moving. Lucia. Dana's voice in my ear. Left exit. Service corridor. Now. I cut left. Through a velvet curtain. Down a narrow hall that smelled like bleach and panic. A fire door slammed behind me. The sound felt final. Cutscene. The parking garage was chaos. Tires screeched. People ran. A woman fell. Someone cried. I ducked between two sedans, breath tearing at my lungs. Headlights flared. Orion's car. Door open. Get in. Idove. He punched the gas. We shot out as black SUVs flooded the entrance behind us. Dana's voice crackled. Violet's in custody. Nolan too. Federal task force on site. You're clear. For now. For now. I leaned back, shaking. Orion glanced at me. You okay? I laughed. It came out wrong. Too sharp. Define okay. The safe house was a rented bungalow near Venice Beach. Empty. White walls. Salt in the air. Dana locked the door. Checked the windows. Killed the lights. Sit, she said. I did. My legs didn't trust me anymore. She placed a tablet on the table. This is the fallout, she said. Headlines. Warrants. Indictments. Asset freezes. Calderon Foundation under federal investigation. Violet Calderon arrested on multiple counts. Unsealed. Project Siren. My name wasn't in the titles. For the first time in days, I breathed. Orion poured water, pushed it toward me. I didn't drink. People think justice is loud, I said, like a door slamming. But it's quiet. It's paperwork. It's waiting. Dana nodded. And it's expensive. Everything is, Orion said. Especially freedom. Silence stretched. Then Dana spoke. Soft. There's one more thing. She slid a file toward me. My mother. Statement. Voluntary interview. She had come in. On her own. Cut scene. The interview room smelled like old coffee and antiseptic. My mother sat on the far side of the table. Smaller. Older. Her hands shook. She looked at me like I was a ghost that had learned to breathe. I tried to stop it, she said immediately. I told them not to use you. Then why did you sign? Her lips parted. Closed. Because in this family, she whispered, love is leverage. I didn't answer. She leaned forward. Violet was always different. She didn't just want control. She wanted authorship. She wanted to write people. I stared. She told us it was temporary, that you'd be fine, that you'd thank her. I laughed. Once. Dry. Did you? Her eyes filled. No. A pause. Then, Your father doesn't know how much you did. He thinks he was in charge. I believed that. Men like him always do. Dana knocked. Time was up. My mother reached for my hand. I didn't pull away. I didn't hold on. Blood doesn't make a home, I said. It just makes a story. She cried. I stood. Cut scene. Morning. Gray light over the ocean. I stood barefoot in the sand, the flash drive in my hand. The one with everything. Siren. Lyra. The voices. The proof. Orion waited by the car. Dana watched the horizon. I waited. Truth is heavy. And sometimes it's done. I threw it. The ocean took it without a sound. Dana exhaled. You sure? Some fires don't need witnesses, I said. They just need oxygen. Orion smiled. Sad. Proud. You know they'll write books about this. Let them, I said. I'm done being a chapter. Later, the house. The Calderon house. Empty. For sale sign crooked on the lawn. I walked through rooms that used to intimidate me. Marble floors. High ceilings. Echoes. In my childhood bedroom, the wallpaper was still peeling at the corners. I touched it. A memory. Not a wound. I closed the door. Cut scene. New apartment. Small. Clean. Mine. I set my keys on the counter. The sound felt real. No cameras. No locks changed behind my back. No voices in the walls. Just quiet. I sat on the floor. Let it hit. The shaking. The release. The end. They say you don't choose your family, but you choose who gets access. They say blood is thicker than water, but so is poison. They say you can't outrun your past, but you can outgrow it. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You were never meant to survive this. I smiled. Typed back. That's not my problem. Blocked. I lay back on the floor, staring at the ceiling. Alive. Unowned. Unwritten. You survive the fire not by fighting it, but by knowing when to walk out and let it burn.